Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight I am here to talk to you about a fellow YouTube channel by the name of Classically Abby. I had a few thoughts, so if you're interested in hearing them, please keep watching. Hey guys, so I had another video planned to film tonight. I just got off a live stream and I was going to film a video regarding pageants, like toddlers and tiaras, along those lines, but I felt like I wanted to do a little bit more research before putting my video out. So that video will be coming, but I do want to take a little bit of a deeper dive and be a little bit more informed in a couple of the sort of subtopics before I just put a video out that is possibly full of, misinformation or missing information. So I want to do it right, and so that video is on the back burner for right now, but it will be coming. But the video that I am prepared to film is about a channel by the name of Classically Abby. First, I want to tell you guys how I discovered this channel. Abby has decided to buy a ton of ads. Some of you might have seen her thumbnail. I will pop up the one that kept showing up for me right here as a point of reference. I continued seeing this thumbnail for literally weeks on end, and I just ignored it for a while, and finally I'm sitting here and I'm like, usually I don't see the same thumbnail over and over and over again for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I finally decided to watch the video that was being recommended to me. It was a doozy. I know that there have been a couple other commentary channels discuss Abby as well. I made it a point to not watch their videos because I wanted to make my own and not have their thoughts in my head or anything like that. So I did watch a few of her videos. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and then share my thoughts on a couple of her videos that she made that I think are very interesting. Basically, Abby has just over 60,000 subscribers at the time that I am filming this video. Her first video was posted on her channel in February of 2019, so she is relatively a newer channel. She's not been making content for years and years. Her channel did first start off as a beauty channel. She had quite a few makeup looks, tutorials, whatever you want to call them. There were a handful of singing, music related videos. From what I've gathered, I don't know if it still stands true right now. What I gathered is that she is an opera singer. Like I said, I don't know if she's still doing that now. That's what I gathered looking back on her channel. So I would say about 6 or 7 months ago, Abby went through a content change and she really started focusing on sharing with the world why she is a conservative woman and why it is the best thing ever and the best decision, and why it should be a decision for the rest of us women, why we should possibly think about becoming conservative as well. So the video that was being recommended to me over and over again is the Why You Should Dress Modestly video. It is just 5 minutes long, so it's not very long at all. And this video was a doozy. Now, I'm not going to go line by line about what she said, but essentially she said that by women wearing provocative clothing, they are not getting the attention that they deserve, and essentially painted women in a very poor light for showing skin or wanting to dress in a sexy way. I disagree with all of that. I think that if you want to wear a mini skirt to the park, go do it. You know, she made the comparison of if there's a family at the park and you're wearing something provocative, then that could, be not great for the family and what they're trying to do by enjoying time at the park. It's all very interesting. Now, I'm not someone who, I wear what I feel like wearing. I know how to dress for the occasion. If I'm going to work, then I'm not going to wear my bikini. However, that's only because there are guidelines set forth by my company. And if I showed up to work in a bikini, then I might be fired or sent home. But as far as my day-to-day life, if I feel like wearing really short shorts and a tank top to the grocery store, then that's what I'm going to do. So either way, I'm not going to dissect this video because I have a feeling that a lot of other creators have really picked apart that video. There are two other videos that I want to discuss in sort of my reaction to her channel. The first one is 10 things you should know before becoming a wife. This was posted on her channel in January of this year, so it's not very old at all. And it has 12,000 likes to 24,000 dislikes. So that's quite a flip-flop number as far as a creator. You don't really want to see 24,000 dislikes to 12,000 likes. You know, a lot of people get super hung up on likes to dislikes. I just look at it as a measuring tool on how the general consensus is on this video. And for this one, it wasn't very good. So let's talk about some of her points that she made in the 10 things you should know before becoming a wife video. So the first point that she made is that you need to adjust to living together. I thought this was really interesting because it clearly tells everyone that she did not live with her husband. And by her lying out this as the first thing, it's almost like she's saying you shouldn't live together before you get married, because that is not the conservative way. I'll tell you guys a little bit about my personal situation. I met my boyfriend and I moved in with him very quickly. It was within maybe a month or two. I was staying in his house full time. I've been with him for 12 years and we never had any issues of, you know, living apart and then getting married and then discovering like, oh, you're a slob, or oh, you don't do laundry enough, or you don't like to make the bed. Like, I think that there's a certain value in living together before you get married. And I realize that that doesn't maybe align with everyone's religious beliefs or personal beliefs or whatever belief system you're gauging it from. But I think that there is a value in actually living in the same residence before you get married. Now, I'm coming from this as someone who's not married, but has been in a very long-term relationship. I think that it allows you to really get a grasp on, this is how this person is. You know it quickly, you know it right away, so that we can either hash it out and learn how to do this thing, or we can decide that I don't like the way that you live, you know? Some of the points that she makes in her video are just very obvious to me. Like the next point that she made was, you need to forgive and be ready to adjust. Well, I think that's very obvious. In any relationship, there's going to be a certain level of forgiving, and it's a two-way street. If you're never forgiving your significant other, then you're going to end up running them out the door. Now, do I think that you need to forgive them for really bad things? Absolutely not. And she doesn't really clarify that in her video. And I thought that that was one of the biggest problems is, yes, forgive, you know, forgive them for not emptying the dishwasher when they said they would and you're upset about it. Like, yeah, like that's not a big deal. Forgive and forget and let's move on. Let's not bicker about every little thing. However, I think what she should have done is she should have clarified there are certain things that you might not owe forgiveness right away, and there might be things that happen in your marriage or in your relationship that you will never be able to forgive someone for. You can talk about it and you can make that decision for yourself, but I don't think that it needs to just be like, oh, well, you screwed up 18,000 times and I was told to forgive, so I need to forgive you. Not everything is going to be forgivable, in my opinion. A quick side note, one of the other things that she talked about when it came to, you know, adjusting to like living together when you're freshly married was that she doesn't like clutter. And it was very funny. It was just a weird observation that I had, but in her YouTube filming space, she has a ton of like clutter and knickknacks behind her. So for me, hearing I don't like clutter, but then seeing kind of what her backdrop looked like, I just kind of thought it was interesting. And I'm defining clutter as knickknacks and things that aren't, maybe necessary. When I see things in a home where it's just full of like little souvenirs and little knickknacks and stuff, like I consider that to be clutter. I don't consider it to be dirty, but I do consider that to be clutter. That's just my own definition of clutter. The next point that she made was a doozy, and she said that you need to learn how to cook before being a wife. And you need to have a couple of recipes under your belt before you become a wife. So here's the thing. Whatever happened to how about the husband learning how to cook? And the other thing that she really targeted this for a woman becoming a wife to a man. What about the woman becoming a wife to another woman, or the man becoming a husband to another man? Any of those sort of things. I think that she really made it very clear that there was a certain group of the population that was not included in her little rule book, and I thought that that was very interesting. I put it together very quickly what she was doing, and I don't think that if you want people to take your advice seriously or even listen to you, I don't think that you should start out your videos by completely ignoring a large part of the population. That was a side note. The thing with cooking is, do I think that someone needs to know how to cook food? Sure. I think that it's a really good trait to have. However, the way that she portrays it is you need to know how to cook so that you can cook dinner every night for your husband. You need to be able to be the preparer of food for your home because your husband is coming home after a long day at work and he needs a hot meal. Like, this is very much, her video reminds me of almost like one of those 1940s, like how to be a wife, magazine billboard things. Like, I've seen these floating around and it's so comical because it's just like, oh, well, the wife stays at home all day and cooks, and the husband comes home and needs a cocktail and a hot meal, and her way of thinking is just it is conservative, but it's also very much old-fashioned. And there are some couples who have very happy marriages and very healthy homes, and they hardly cook. Maybe they like to go out to dinner, and I don't think that that discounts someone being a wife. If I like to go out to dinner, or if I like to do carry out, I don't think that that doesn't make me wife material just because I'm not at home with recipes under my belt and cooking dinner for my husband. It's just, in my opinion, it's a very old-fashioned way of looking at things. The one thing that I also noticed very quickly is she talks about being a wife as if it's a personality trait. Like, literally, that's another thing that her videos scream to me, that I am a wife, that is who I am, that is all that I am, and that is all of my being. The next thing that she mentioned is really obvious in my opinion, but she says something about being prepared to give each other space. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love to have space away from my boyfriend. Like, I don't need, him to accompany me to Sephora or to the grocery store. Like, I think she has this image where the husband and the wife do everything together. Like, your hobbies are my hobbies, and I am your wife, and if I am not with you, I am at home cooking and cleaning and tidying up. So in one vein, it is very obvious that you need to give each other space, but I think that the way that she's portraying it is, now, your existence as a wife is number one, but sometimes your husband might need a little space, so be okay with that. The next point that she made was definitely the bomb of the whole thing. She says that you need to keep up with your appearances. And the example that she gives is shaving your legs, cutting your hair, and having makeup on. I have to say, this is the worst advice that I could think of as far as, telling someone this is how you prepare to be a wife, or this is how you prepare for marriage. To automatically go to, you need to keep up with your looks, and you need to make sure that you have some makeup on and get your hair done and get your hair cut and all of this kind of stuff is horrible advice. Secondly, if you feel like you need to wear makeup just because you're around your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever it is, that's a problem. There is never a day when I feel obligated to put makeup on. There is never a day where I feel obligated to shave my legs. If I don't feel like shaving my legs, I'm not shaving my legs. And it's never a question. And I think that that is really part of a healthy relationship. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is nobody should ever feel obligated to, oh, well, I have to put my makeup on. My husband's coming home. And it's, again, it goes back to that whole very vintage 1940s way of thinking of the wife being at home cooking in a dress and having perfect curls and a little, red lip on and some makeup. That is so abnormal to me. I cannot imagine what it would feel like to feel obligated to do these things just because your husband's home or your husband's coming home. I have to do these things, or, he might not love me anymore. So the next thing that she says is it's okay to change for your partner. Now, the context that she uses this in is if you're doing something that is maybe not that good, then it's okay to ask your partner to change. But what's really funny is her last point of, making sure that you're taking care of your looks. Well, okay, but what if I want to change and I'm going through a period in my life where I don't want to shave and I don't want to wear makeup? So that kind of change isn't okay, but it's okay if, I can't even think of an example that would make sense, but it's very selective in the way that she uses these things. And I think that she just has this image in her head of what a wife needs to be. And all I can think of is that wife that is sitting at home literally just pleasing her husband and making sure that he's happy and not upset with her. And it's almost like a child, it's almost like that mother-child sort of relationship. And once your relationship crosses into, that, mother and child or father and child kind of dynamic, things get very, very weird, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't really know, whatever works for her is fine. I just think that a lot of these things and a lot of the videos on her channel is very dangerous to be putting out to her audience. She also talks about decorating the home and giving it a female vibe, making sure that, things are decorated and things are nice. The thing that I thought about here is it's almost like, okay, well, make it a female vibe, but what if your husband wants to, hang up a piece of art that's like a baseball stadium, or have a signed football on the coffee mantle or on the fireplace mantle? Are these things not okay? Do you just want to take full control of everything? Because then it almost goes to, you're trying to take the power away from your husband by not allowing him to engage in having decisions on what decor goes where. I don't know. I'm not a big decor person anyway. I am sort of minimalist when it comes to stuff like that. So I'm not the one that's in Home Goods buying a million Christmas decorations. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Does that mean that her husband doesn't have a say-so in what the decor is if it has to have a female vibe? She also talks about how you're allowed to be friends with your single friends. Like, that's kind of obvious. I didn't know that it was like an unwritten rule that once you're married, you can't be friends with your single friends. Like, I don't know where she got that from. And then she also talks about make sure your home is welcoming when your husband has his friends over. It's funny because she talks about how her husband will have friends over, and then sometimes they'll invite her to hang out. And, you know, if they're doing their own thing, she'll go in the other room and read a book or get out of their way or whatever. And this, to me, again, it goes back to that like very vintage, like housewife thing where your husband has friends over and you make them lemonade, and you know, you let them have cigars and leave them alone and check on them every 20 minutes, make sure that everyone has a drink and some snacks. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not here to be anyone's waitress, period. So the other video I'll hit on really quickly is her video called Ladies Stop Hooking Up. I don't want to go into graphic detail. You guys are more than welcome to go watch these videos for yourself, but essentially she tries to use scare tactics to tell women specifically, she's always talking to women, to not hook up with people. And then she uses the scare tactics of STDs, pregnancy scares, and the fact that, you know, basically nobody is going to love you if you're just hooking up and randomly, like, so quick to hook up with people. This is really, really bad advice to give to an audience. Now, instead of doing this, I think that she could have turned this video into promoting safe sex and knowing, you know, knowing your worth. I don't think that it needed to be such a, oh, well, if you do this, then you're a piece of shit human. Like, so stop doing it. I think that this video could have had maybe a little bit of a solution behind it, or a little bit of a better message if it was just worded differently, and if she didn't try to throw those scare tactics in there. I don't know, guys. I will link her channel down below if you are curious. Be prepared. It's a doozy. You know, I don't really agree with anything that she had to say as far as her advice to women, wives, whatever. It's just very interesting to me, her way of thinking. And I do think that at a certain point it could become dangerous, especially if she has young women watching her channel. They are going to compare decisions that maybe they thought was normal or they thought were okay, and they will degrade themselves because they heard this YouTuber tell them, no, this is wrong, and this is the normal way, this is the conservative way, this is the right way. So I don't know. I hope that any young women, or, you know, even a little bit older women who are watching her and realizing that she is not qualified to be making the rule book for how to be a good wife, or, you know, what to do with your own body. It's just horrible advice across the board. So anyway, guys, quick little video. I hope that you did enjoy it. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.